Welcome to SST College of Arts and Commerce, Ulhasnagar 4. SST College of Arts and Commerce is teaching students digitally via Edupedia platform. Today, we are going to take the subject Corporate Communication and Public Relations, coming under third year BMS semester 5th. Today's topic we are going to cover is Corporate Communication, coming under module 1 and 2. Myself, Assistant Professor Komal Kamra. Here we go. Corporate communication. Corporate communication is the communication works for those who work at it. That means those who really want to make the best use of communication, they do use it. How? Let us see. We have variety of examples of companies who have broken the ice. For example, Google, Apple, Nokia, Sony, L'Oreal, Maybelline. Definitely. If all these brands we are able to recollect, that means these are term. Term refers to top of mind. Let us see what exactly the corporate communication is. Corporate communication is a total communication activity. Total refers to overall, covering all aspects, all departments, all levels. Generated by a company. Of course, when we are talking on the lines of corporate communication, it has to be generated by the corporate sector or the company or a particular body or an institute to its public or publics. That refers to variety of people who are connected to business in order to achieve its planned objective. Companies, before moving for the corporate communication, they are setting certain objectives. They are planning for the objectives. They go for strategic planning. And those strategic planning can be started with corporate communication. Let's see, there are two parts of corporate communication. One is internal, another is external. Internal refers to communication with employees, stakeholders, that is share and stockholders. When we talk on the lines of external people, it refers to agencies, channel partners, media, government, industry, various bodies, educational institutions and general public at large. In short, if we wish to define corporate communication, that refers to communicating with all the stakeholders, that is internal stakeholders, that is the contributors, as well as the external stakeholders, that is the external contributors to business, and it is done by the business to its stakeholders. What is corporate communication? Let us try to know in simpler words. It includes advertising, marketing, communications, public relations, but they all function under a managed perspective. Corporate communication is managing an organization's internal and external communication at large, covering everything. That may include communication from top level to middle level to lower level and ultimate the labor level employees. Now, how did it evolve? Corporate communication evolution. Until 70s, the term public relations was used to describe the communication with stakeholders, because public relation and public relation department and officers, they used to play the most important role in creating an identity or an image of company to public. The function largely consisted of communication with press may be print media or electronic media. Other stakeholders, that is internal and external, started demanding more and more information from the company, because people, when they started investing their hard-earned savings into businesses, they demanded information and surety along with that. Companies started to look at communication as being more and than just the public relations. Now, communication from corporate to the customers, to society, to internal or external stakeholders is must. Let us go to the structure. How does the company communicate? Company communicates in three basic fields. One is internal and another is external. Under internal or external, if we combine all three, we get communication with HR, by PR, to PR, and Marcom, that is marketing communication. And if we look into the areas, marketing communication is being divided for promotions or advertising. Now, all these things in combination are called as a structure of corporate communication. Now, there are a variety of vehicles carrying communication from corporate to corporate, corporate to public, corporate to government, corporate to customers, corporate to employees. For example, logo. Another example is letterheads, visiting cards, greetings, bills, estimates, memos, corporate fonts and typefaces, code of conduct created by, followed by HR, fair business practices, email etiquettes, templates for communications, internet and intranet branding, rewards, recognition and appraisals created by HR under their policies, customer relationship review initiatives, advertising, PR, direct marketing, investor relations, marketing promotions, exhibitions, corporate collaterals, brochures, newsletters, security systems, employee registration, branded apparel, commercial and personal vehicle branding, store or site signage. Along with this, there are various forms of communication, corporate communication, which are observed within the boundaries of the boardroom. You can see from the figure, why must we always communicate? Why can't you just listen to me? It is very important to make the communication effective. Listening is very important. Unless we listen, we cannot communicate, we cannot give feedback. So, listening is very important and integral part of communication. Now, under the forms of corporate communication, within the boundaries of internal communication, there can be regular meetings with employees, keep employees interested and satisfied with the help of continuous supply and printing of newsletters, fun at work initiatives, get-togethers, keep employees invested in the company's way of thinking and operating, and many more areas. Now, other forms, consumer communication. How can you attract or keep consumers informed about what are your plans and what are your arrivals or what you are going to launch? Consumer communication is influencing consumer spending, motivating them to spend more and more on your products and services. Outreach to target audience must be consistent and ongoing. It should never stop. Enhance company's reputation through advertising. Effective advertising to keep on company's reputation being enhanced. Sponsorship and charitable relationships. We might have seen IPL mostly being sponsored by the giants called Pepsi or Coca-Cola. That's why they have been successful corporate communicators. Improve the life of the consumers. Improvise consumers' lives, make them aware and attract them. Media communication. Fundamental element of media, managing brand's reputation. Media coverage. Coverage in form of print media, electronic media, target segments and all the audience who are our very important and integral target. Crisis communication, as we have seen in the case of Maggi few years ago, when it was being withdrawn by the market, they rebuild their image by their best corporate communication, by hiring celebrities. You can say celebrity endorsement. Sachin Tendulkar was one of the very good celebrity endorsement who put the best impact on crisis communication, followed by Maggi. The corporate communication mix. Mix refers to marketing mix, services marketing mix and promotional mix. If we mix all these three, we can get a good communication. This is given by Van Riel's Corporation Communication, Corporate Communication Mix. Management communication, that is communication at all levels of management. Organizational communication, that is within the organization and outside the organization. And another purely marketing-based communication, enhancing the product, promoting the product, attracting the consumers and society by generating brand positioning in their minds. Now, Balmer and Gray's total corporate communication mix, what does it say? Let us see. He has divided the corporate communication mix as a total into three different segments. First segment is primary, second is secondary, and third is tertiary. When we are talking on the lines of primary, it is basic, products, services, management, staff, corporate behavior. When we move on to the second line, that is secondary communication, it is added by advertising and good public relations. When we talk on the lines of tertiary, it definitely generates word of mouth and spin. Now, what is the difference between marketing communication and corporate communication? Marketing communication is focusing on customer. Corporate communication is focusing on multiple stakeholders. Marketing communication, that is MarCom, is defined set of channels, and corporate communication multiple channels. MarCom is controlled communication type and corporate is variety of communication. MarCom includes positions a product or a service in the minds of consumers, whereas corporate communication positions an entire organization. MarCom, more room for creativity. We can go on creating things. Whereas in corporate communication, there's less room for creativity. So we have to be careful at the first stage only. MarCom needs to be consistent with the product or the brand attributes. It has to match with the brand. And here the corporate communication needs to be consistent with the corporate identity, corporate image, corporate brand attributes. Another thing is the concepts used in corporate communication. For example, overriding purpose in line with the value or expectation of stakeholders. This is the mission. Vision is desired future state, the aspiration of the organization, reflecting our expertise by over 75 years of experience by offering quality solutions in the field of cooling towers and cooling water systems, assuring timely execution and completion of this project to achieve one goal, customer delight. Now, why corporate communication is important? It is important because of global economy. Economies are not moving locally. They are planning locally but moving globally. Environmental needs, business environmental needs, and other environmental, physical environmental, social environmental, political environmental needs. Increased role of management. Management's role is increased, enhanced, enlarged. Professionalism of the public. Public is becoming more and more of professionalism because of education and with variety of facilities to learn. Splintering of mass markets. Yes, mass markets are being splintered. Fragmentation of the mass media, rapid development of the new media technology leading in communication trends. Presently, we are not using the old classical or traditional communication tools or technology, but we are using the media technology or the social technology which is available handy, that is in our hands in the form of a mobile. What are the main responsibility of corporate communication? Managing communication or fulfilling the communication management function, dealing with controlled and uncontrolled media, serving both internal and external audiences, proactive communication planning, advocating communication strategies and tactics, dissemination of persuasion and information, branding images and reputation, branding products and services, monitoring the responses from audiences and markets, counseling and advising senior executives, managing issues and responding to crisis situation, lobbying for favorable census for the organization, organizational image creation and maintenance, organizational presence building and monitoring, minimizing discrepancies, that is differences or the gaps between the company's desired identity and the brand features, indicate who should perform which task in the field of communication, formulating and executing effective procedures in order to facilitate decision making about matters concerning to communication, and coordinating with international business firms. It requires corporate communication. Let us make a move to managing corporate communication in relationship to media, that is media relations. The always increasing role of electronic media. We all are connected to media, and electronic media is bursting out like anything. It includes internet, newspapers, magazines, radio, television, and many apps which are being utilized by us in the form of social media with the help of internet has created a special importance for media relations. In fact, the news media have become dependent on PR for news, and PR has become dependent upon the news media for the publicity. So publicity, media, public relations occupy a very important place for corporate communicators. Now, how to manage corporate communication in relation to employees' relations. Internal communication is the key. Unless we satisfy our internal customers, that is our employees, we cannot move ahead and promise some services to the customers or society. Informed employees are happy and they spread the good news through their families and friends. Never surprise your employees. Make them a part of the planning process and keep them informed regularly with whatever changes you are bringing. You just inform them first. Seek their acceptance. Now, in government relations, role of managing corporate communication. Building meaningful relationships with government officials is essential to industry success in today's political world, because politically we have to make ourselves safer so that we are using better or we are managing corporate communication. Lobbying. The legal influencing of public officials on stands appropriate for industry. It happens sometimes we have to undergo the lobbying. We have to do some favors or offer some gifts to the government officials for the purpose of helping us, maybe in the form of a token of our appreciation. May not be as a corruption or a bribe. Public affairs, stances on controversial issues of public concern is imperative for business success today. Now, relations with special interest groups. There are several special interest and activist groups in the country today. There are large number of NGOs, large number of social groups, large number of corporate groups, definitely backed by government and law. If there is a cause, some group will pick it up. Defending company from frivolous lawsuits and harassment from these groups has become a full-time job in itself. Stakeholder relations. It is important to recognize stakeholders. It is not only socially responsible to deal effectively with these stakeholders, it plays in good will and financial stability of the company. Monitoring and managing key issues and moving to offset crisis and emergency situations in a proactive way is very essential today. We have to be very much alert, well in advance, before anything evil happens or attacks us. Advertising relations, very important. Advertising plays a direct impact on consumers' mind, generating product positioning. Copywriting in production is usually outsourced today. Market analysis is imperative. Ratings, circulations, visits, all are very important. Reach and frequency to ultimate customer is very important. Media buying is an important part of corporate communication. That means we are hiring certain medias for a certain period of time for the purpose of communicating what we want to say to the customers. Sufficient advertising knowledge and skills are essential for a professional communication today. Now, management perspective in corporate communication. How management is working. Research knowledge, we must have good knowledge of research. What kind of communication is being acceptable. Negotiation knowledge, we must know how to communicate to negotiate with all the stakeholders. Persuasion knowledge, that is motivation knowledge, how to convince, motivate all the parties who are beneficial to the company. Strategic and operational management knowledge. The corporate communication must have the strategic and operational management knowledge. Now, if we summarize, in business as in life, the message you leave behind is far more impactful and lasting than the circumstances under which it was initiated. That means the situations are not critical, but the way we communicate can become critical. So, communication in all possible forms must be easily understandable, easily acceptable, and easily followable, and easily persuadable. I hereby wind up my presentation and thank everybody involved in helping me out to prepare this and present this, the technical staff of college and my department DMS as well as my students. Thank you very much.